The spotlight can bring a life of luxury, but it is also where the cracks in a marriage are exposed. Love in Hollywood is so fragile that after just a few crises, a perfect family can quickly collapse. There are couples who once radiated on the red carpet, who were once symbols of happiness. But then drugs, illness, temptation, and cheating scandals shattered that image. No more fulfilling smiles. No more sweet vows. What remains is the naked truth about the crises that pushed them to the brink of divorce. Most would choose to let go. But the 23 black celebrity couples I am about to tell you about went against the grain. They tasted the full extent of those brutal tragedies, but instead of choosing to walk away, they steadfastly stayed to hold their families together to this very day. 23. Samuel L. Jackson and Latanya Richardson. The cold floor, drugs, and a life-saving ultimatum. Samuel L. Jackson and Latanya Richardson first met in the late 60s when they were both students at the Arts College complex in Atlanta. Samuel at Morehouse and Latanya at Spelman College. They officially married in 1980, while Latanya quickly established herself as a formidable stage actress. Having received a prestigious Tony nomination for A Raisin in the Sun, Samuel struggled to find his footing in Hollywood and gradually slid into addiction. In the late 1980s, career pressure pushed the actor into severe drug abuse, specifically cocaine and crack, to the point where he frequently lost consciousness. The rock-bottom moment happened one morning in 1990. Latanya walked into the kitchen and was stunned to find her husband lying unconscious on the cold tile floor. Scattered around him was crack paraphernalia, while their 8-year-old daughter stood helplessly watching her father from the doorway. Faced with that devastating scene, instead of packing her bags and leaving, Latanya delivered a firm ultimatum: either a rehab center in New York or a divorce. This resolute decision not only saved their marriage, but completely altered the trajectory of Samuel's career. After completing his recovery program, he landed a breakthrough role in Spike Lee's film Jungle Fever, where he played a crack addict, reenacting his own frantic cravings, and won a special award at the Cannes Film Festival. From the abyss, Samuel rose to become a global box office superstar with blockbusters like Pulp Fiction and the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Today, they run a film production company together and continue to share the Broadway stage, turning their 4-decade marriage into Hollywood's most resilient testament. 22. Terry Crews and Rebecca King Crews. The psychological illness that almost crushed a happy home. Terry Crews was a professional NFL player for the Los Angeles Rams and San Diego Chargers before successfully pivoting to acting with hit projects like Everybody Hates Chris and Brooklyn Nine-Nine. His wife, Rebecca, is also a talented soul gospel singer. However, behind the image of a model family, their marriage once stood on the brink of collapse due to a sensitive psychological issue. In 2010, in the suffocating space of their family living room, Terry bowed his head and confessed to his wife about a severe pornography addiction that had persisted since he was 12 years old. This distortion had completely altered his perception, leading to infidelity and shattering Rebecca's trust. Faced with this shock, Rebecca coldly packed his bags, asked Terry to leave the house, and prepared divorce papers. Realizing he was about to lose everything, Terry voluntarily checked into a rehab facility for 90 days of intensive psychological treatment while completely dismantling and rebuilding his views on toxic masculinity. Thanks to her husband's genuine effort, Rebecca decided to give the marriage a chance. Together, they wrote the audio memoir, Stronger Together, to publicly share this tear-soaked healing process. By 2020, the caregiver roles reversed when Rebecca was diagnosed with stage 1 breast cancer. In the glaringly bright operating room, Terry stood there, having cleared all his schedules, keeping watch by his wife's side before her double mastectomy, repaying the immense grace she had shown to preserve their 37-year home. 21. Magic Johnson and Cookie Johnson. A death sentence, right on the honeymoon, and a historic decision. Magic Johnson is a global sports icon who won 5 NBA championships with the Los Angeles Lakers and is a massively influential figure in American pop culture. But his marriage to fashion designer Cookie Johnson is one of the most historic medical trials in the world. Exactly 45 days after their lavish wedding, the air in the doctor's office seemed to freeze when Magic received a positive HIV test result. In 1991, the term HIV dropped like a 1,000-pound pound weight, an almost certain death sentence, accompanied by extreme societal stigma. In that breathless moment, Cookie instinctively placed her hand on her stomach, where a new life was growing. Magic hesitantly told her she had the right to pack her things and leave immediately to save her own life, but Cookie adamantly refused. She went to get her blood drawn in sheer terror, only to burst into tears when she received a negative result for both herself and the fetus. After accepting the reality, Cookie stood shoulder to shoulder with her husband during his historic November 1991 press conference, facing a wall of flashing cameras as her husband announced his retirement. Not only did she stand by Magic through grueling antiretroviral regimens and help him return to play in the 1992 Olympics with the Dream Team, but Cookie also co-founded the Magic Johnson Foundation, providing scholarships and opening free HIV testing centers. Years later, when their son E.J. Johnson came out as gay, the couple fiercely protected him unconditionally, becoming some of the loudest voices against homophobia and illness stigma in the Black community. 20. Snoop Dogg and Shante Broadus, the torn divorce papers before the line of life and death. Snoop Dogg and Shante Broadus are a rare high school sweetheart couple who met at Polytechnic High School in Long Beach and stood firm in the street music industry. Shante is not only his wife, but also the one who directly manages his finances and business direction through Boss Lady Entertainment. However, a career tied to violent culture dragged Snoop into heavy legal turmoil. The most terrifying ordeal was when Snoop stood trial for murder in 1996. Although he was defended by the legendary Johnny Cochran and acquitted, the pressure from the trial, combined with a reckless lifestyle and a string of cheating scandals, pushed them to the brink of divorce in 2004. But one tragedy changed the entire trajectory of their family. In 2005, their youngest daughter, Corey, was diagnosed with systemic lupus erythematosus, a vicious autoimmune disease that caused her hair to fall out in clumps and led to severe weight loss. Looking at his tiny, frail 6-year-old daughter swallowed up amid the cold beeping of heart monitors in the hospital, Snoop realized all the power or fame in the world meant nothing if he lost his family. That immense heartbreak forced Snoop and Shante to set aside their egos to focus on finding the best medical specialists. The sleepless nights in the hospital room healed fractures that seemed beyond saving. Snoop officially withdrew his divorce petition, publicly apologized to his wife in the media, and hosted a vow renewal ceremony in 2008 on a 20-acre ranch in front of 200 guests, reaffirming their eternal bond. To this day, after 29 grueling years, they still stand side by side, proving that a street romance can absolutely become eternal. 2019. Charlie Wilson and Mahin. From a cowering homeless man to a spectacular revival. Charlie Wilson is the legendary lead singer of the R&B funk group The Gap Band, the man behind 80s classics like Outstanding and You Dropped a Bomb on Me. However, when the group's career began to slide due to terrible publishing deals and lawsuits fighting for royalties with the record label, Charlie fell into a severe crisis. In the early 90s, the renowned singer lost all his assets, his home was foreclosed on, and he became homeless. He had to wander the dark alleys of Hollywood Boulevard, shivering under cardboard boxes in the cold night, his hands trembling as he held a cheap bottle of liquor while his old hits echoed from the car radios driving by on the street. He was completely physically depleted by his addiction to alcohol and cocaine. The turning point in his life occurred in 1994 when he was forced to enter an outpatient rehab program in Los Angeles. There, he met Mahin, a social worker and the director of the treatment program. Mahin didn't just strictly monitor his rehab progress. She paid out of her own pocket to help him buy clothes and supported his reintegration into society. They married in 1995. Mahin's companionship helped Charlie Wilson resurrect his music career spectacularly, becoming Uncle Charlie, deeply respected by hip-hop superstars like Snoop Dogg and Kanye West, bringing in an additional 13 Grammy nominations. By 2008, another trial struck when Charlie developed prostate cancer. During the days his body was weakened by radiation, Mahin still held his hand tightly in the stark white hospital room, becoming his unwavering medical rock. After beating the disease, fueled by his wife's encouragement, he became the national spokesperson for the Prostate Cancer Foundation, using his own story to save the lives of other black men. 18. Ronald Eiley and Candy Johnson, behind federal bars and an agonizing wait. Ronald Eiley, the frontman of the Eiley Brothers, famous for the hit Between the Sheets, is one of the historical pillars of American R&B soul. His marriage with a 36-year age gap to Candy Johnson, a member of J.S. Johnson Sisters, a group Ronald himself discovered and mentored, once faced much skepticism. And the real test hit like a hurricane just 1 year after their wedding. In September 2006, Ronald Eiley was sentenced by a federal court to 3 years in prison and ordered to pay millions in fines for evading up to $3.1 million in taxes over several years. This crisis dealt a heavy blow to Candy, who had just given birth to their first son not long before. Instead of trying to dodge the public eye, Candy accepted life as a single mother and regularly made the long trips to the Terre Haute Federal Correctional Facility in Indiana. Those visits were always haunted by the heavy slam of iron doors. Candy sat behind cold bulletproof glass, pressing the phone to her ear to hear her husband's exhausted voice. For a 64-year-old man who had suffered a mild stroke in London in 2004 and had heart conditions, a federal prison sentence was essentially a looming death penalty. Candy became the only thread connecting Ronald to the world, fighting with prison authorities to ensure her husband received medical care, while constantly updating the press on his health. After he was released in 2010, Candy's 2 decades of enduring love continued to serve as the backbone that helped him recover his vocal cords, bringing the R&B legend back to the top with the album This Song Is For You. 17. LL Cool J and Simone Smith, throwing away the spotlight to win his wife back from the hands of death. LL Cool J, real name, James Todd Smith, winner of 2 Grammys and star of the hit TV series NCIS Los Angeles, is one of the rare rappers who has maintained the image of an exemplary family man. He met Simone Smith when she was just 19, and they married in 1995. But in 2004, while he was at the peak of his fame, an unexpected medical sentence struck. Simone was diagnosed with stage 3 chondrosarcoma, an extremely rare and malignant bone cancer eating deeply into the tibia of her right leg. To win her life back, Simone had to undergo a grueling 15-hour microvascular reconstructive surgery. Doctors had to remove the entire cancerous bone and replace it by extracting the fibula from her left leg to graft over, combined with countless metal rods and screws. When she groggily woke up in the stark white recovery room, LL Cool J was sitting quietly right in the corner. He had canceled all his filming and singing schedules, refused to hire nurses so he could personally stand watch, carry his wife to the bathroom, and guide her through agonizing, limping steps during 2.5 years of physical therapy. This near-death experience inspired Simone to found the jewelry brand Simone Y. Smith in 2011, donating a portion of the proceeds to the American Cancer Society. At the same time, the couple became the faces of the national Beat Cancer Like a Boss campaign. Over the past 31 years, the couple's united front hasn't just preserved their home, but also spread strength to thousands of other cancer patients. 16. Will Downing and Audrey Wheeler, the faint recording on a hospital bed and a medical miracle. Will Downing, dubbed the Prince of Sophisticated Soul, possesses a warm baritone voice that captivates hearts. His wife, Audrey Wheeler, is also an exceptional background vocalist for legends like Chaka Khan. Their 35-year marriage is seen as a monument of sacrifice and loyalty. Their fulfilling life unexpectedly collapsed in 2007 when Will was diagnosed with polymyositis, an incredibly rare autoimmune disease appearing in only 1 in 100,000 people, causing the immune system to eat away at its own muscle tissues. The devastation happened at a terrifying speed. In just a few months, he lost nearly 100 pounds. His body went limp. He lost the ability to walk and became confined to a wheelchair. The disease suffocated his larynx and forced him to use a feeding tube straight into his stomach. Powerless and desperate, the wife who had shared his life for over 15 years refused to let her husband give up. Audrey paused her career and personally set up a microphone in the living room. Every day, Will painstakingly gathered every bit of air, straining to sing until sweat poured like rain just to record 5 to 10-second vocal snippets. Audrey stood beside him, constantly massaging him and adjusting his posture. Through the wife's noble sacrifice, the album After Tonight was born right on his sickbed, bringing Will back to perform on stage and making him an active advocate for the Muscular Dystrophy Association. 15. Kirk Franklin and Tammy Collins, a faith-shaking confession and the price of forgiveness. Kirk Franklin is a colossal monument of gospel music, winner of 19 Grammy Awards. His wife, Tammy Collins, was a professional makeup artist before they married. Through 30 years as husband and wife, their marriage is a symbol of forgiveness and soul salvation. As an artist representing the Christian faith, Kirk's career was tied to an exemplary image. But in 1998, just entering the second year of this 3-decade marriage, Kirk shattered that facade with a shocking statement. He confessed he was struggling with a severe pornography addiction stemming from childhood traumas. In the black church community at that time, this was a taboo sin. A fierce wave calling for the boycott of his music erupted. But right in the eye of the media storm, Tammy held her husband's hand tightly, becoming a solid pillar for him. Together, they withstood thousands of judgmental glares. Instead of filing for divorce, Tammy took him to psychiatric therapy, and they appeared together on the Oprah Winfrey Show to bravely discuss this dark corner. Her resilient grace not only helped Kirk conquer his addiction, but also turned the crisis into a lesson in healing. Hitting the 30-year marriage milestone, the couple continues to launch documentary projects diving deep into mental health, cementing a love that specializes in mending hidden pain. 14. Method Man and Tamika Smith. The battle to protect a secret from the media's claws. Method Man is the soul of the legendary rap group Wu-Tang Clan and a talented actor. Contrary to the wild image of hip-hop, he is extremely protective of his family, rarely bringing his wife of 25 years, Tamika Smith, onto the red carpet. Throughout a quarter of a century together, they have always strived to keep the peace for their children away from the spotlight. However, that protection was brutally ripped away in 2006 when Tamika was quietly battling breast cancer. They hid this secret even from their relatives so Tamika could focus on the hair loss chemo treatments and surgeries. The crisis erupted while Method Man was driving. The radio blasted the voice of gossip MC Wendy Williams, publicly exposing Tamika's entire secret cancer battle on national airwaves. Pure rage boiled over as his family's private space was ruthlessly violated. Immediately, he plunged into a fiery media war, publicly cursing and fiercely criticizing Wendy Williams, determined to use his fame as a shield to protect Tamika from malicious scrutiny. Overcoming the shock of privacy invasion and physical agony, Tamika completely beat cancer. This event, resonating with 25 years of a rock-solid marriage, turned Method Man into a model hip-hop icon for his determination to protect his family against the media. 13. T.I. and Tiny Harris. Prison, fractures, and a tear-soaked marriage. T.I. and Tamika Tiny Harris began dating in 2001 and officially married in 2010. As of 2026, they have shared a quarter of a century together and maintained 16 years of married life. T.I. is one of the pioneer rappers who put Southern trap music on the global map with 3 Grammys, while Tiny is a core member of the multi-platinum R&B group Xscape. Despite holding major power in the entertainment industry, their marriage is an incredibly complex series of legal and personal crises. The couple's biggest challenge has been T.I.'s run-ins with the law. In 2007, right before the BET Hip Hop Awards, the rapper was arrested for illegal weapons possession and subsequently had to serve nearly a year in federal prison. In 2010, just months after a lavish wedding in Miami, both were arrested again for drug possession, causing T.I.'s probation to be revoked and sending him back to prison for another 11 months. Throughout that time, Tiny had to keep their business running while raising their children alone. The legal pressure didn't stop there. Their marriage fractured multiple times due to cheating rumors. It peaked in December 2016 when Tiny officially filed for divorce in Henry County, Georgia. However, after several reconciliation attempts, they withdrew the petition. The couple decided to expose their real-life conflicts through the reality TV show T.I. and Tiny, The Family Hustle, keeping their bond intact to this day. 12. Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith. The red carpet act and Hollywood's most bizarre marriage secret. Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith officially married in 1997 and quickly became Hollywood's ultimate power couple. Will is a global box office superstar with blockbusters like Men in Black and Independence Day, while Jada cemented her name through the Matrix franchise and the Red Table talk show. To date, they have spent 29 years as husband and wife on paper, but their marriage story is one of the most controversial and highly publicized topics in global media. This marriage has faced massive public pressure, especially when Jada's extramarital relationship with singer August Alsina was exposed, sparking open conversations about open marriage models. The biggest shock to their public image occurred in 2022 at the Oscars, when Will Smith slapped comedian Chris Rock on live television to protect Jada from a joke about her alopecia. However, the most shocking information was revealed by Jada in her memoir, Worthy, published in 2023. In reality, the couple had secretly been separated since 2016. Despite living completely separate lives for nearly a decade, both Will and Jada firmly maintain that they will never sign legal divorce papers. Their 29-year bond has been redefined by the concept of life partners, shattering all traditional standards of a Hollywood marriage. 11. Bobby Brown and Alicia Etheridge, the final safe haven after a string of horrific losses. Bobby Brown is an icon of R&B New Jack Swing and a former member of the group New Edition. He and Alicia Etheridge first met in the early 90s, but it wasn't until 2012 that they officially tied the knot. As of 2026, they have known each other for over 30 years and have had 14 years of official marriage. Alicia is not just his wife, but also Bobby's official manager since 2008, the person who played a core role in helping him rebuild his career and escape the swamp of addiction. Their bond was tested by the most horrific tragedies of loss a man could bear. Alicia stood by Bobby when he faced the sudden passing of his ex-wife Whitney Houston. The shock continued when his daughter Bobby Christina Brown passed away in 2015 after months in a coma, followed by the fatal overdose of his son Bobby Jr. in 2020. Continuously arranging funerals for his own flesh and blood drained the singer physically and mentally. The compounding pressure caused Bobby's health to collapse, leading to severe strokes. Throughout that dark period, Alicia Etheridge was his only safe haven. She managed his legal affairs, oversaw his medical care, and pushed to establish the Bobby Christina Serenity House to support victims of domestic violence. Their 14-year marriage is a testament to survival following a brutal string of family tragedies. 10. Peabo, Bryson, and Tanya Boniface. The collapse and the moment of snatching life back from death. Peabo Bryson, winner of 2 Grammys, is dubbed Disney's King of the Duet for all-time classics like Beauty and the Beast, sung with Celine Dion, and A Whole New World, sung with Regina Belle. In 2010, at age 59, he married singer and former R&B group The O'Jays member Tanya Boniface. This age gap romance remained quiet and private for years until a severe medical emergency occurred, turning Tanya into his literal savior. Early on the morning of April 27, 2019, while at their home in Georgia, Peabo Bryson suddenly collapsed. He suffered a massive heart attack that completely stopped his respiratory and circulatory functions. In that moment, the 68-year-old singer's life was down to mere seconds. Thanks to her first aid training, Tanya maintained absolute composure. She immediately performed continuous CPR on her husband and called 911. Doctors at the hospital confirmed that if Tanya had not reacted in time and performed accurate chest compressions right at the scene, Peabo Bryson certainly would not have survived the crisis. After several days in intensive care, he miraculously made a full recovery. Their 16-year marriage is not only built on a love for art, but is also bound by an invaluable life-saving act. 9. Rev Run and Justine Simmons, the pain exposed to millions of camera lenses. Rev Run, real name Joseph Simmons, is a founding member of the pioneering hip-hop group Run DMC, someone with massive influence in bringing street culture into the commercial mainstream. He and Justine Simmons married in 1994. As of 2026, they have held hands through 32 years of marriage, becoming one of the most positively influential couples on American television through their hit family reality show Run's House, broadcast on MTV. The biggest trial in their 3 decades together was a medical heartbreak related to childbirth. In 2006, Justine was pregnant with their 3rd child. However, on September 26, 2006, baby girl Victoria Ann was born with a severe birth defect called an omphalocele, where internal organs grow outside the body. Baby Victoria passed away less than 2 hours after birth. Instead of hiding the pain of losing a child, Rev Run and Justine made an incredibly brave decision. allowing MTV's cameras to record their process of facing this tragedy. Broadcasting that heartbreaking story provided healing strength to millions of families who had experienced the pain of losing an infant. To soothe their wounds and continue spreading love, in 2007, the Simmons couple adopted a baby girl named Miley. After 32 years together, the Simmons family remains an ideal model of resilience and faith. 8. Boris Kodjoe and Nicole Ari Parker, the medical shock that tested 2 stars. Boris Kodjoe and Nicole Ari Parker are 2 famous actors who met and fell in love on the set of the hit TV series Soul Food in the early 2000s. They officially married in 2005 in Germany. To date, their 21-year marriage has always been seen as a symbol of elegance and stability in Hollywood. Even though both have busy filming schedules, their true test lay in the responsibilities of parenthood when they had to face a medical crisis right in their first year of marriage. In 2005, Nicole gave birth to their first daughter, Sophie Tay Naki Lee Kodjoe. However, right from birth, baby Sophie was diagnosed with spina bifida, a rare neural tube defect where the spinal cord fails to develop normally, threatening her mobility and body control. Facing the immense pressure of providing special medical care for a child with a disability, Boris and Nicole refused to let their careers or their marriage be defeated. Together, they consulted top medical experts and founded the Sophie's Voice Foundation in 2008. This charity not only provides financial support to families with children facing spina bifida, but also funds medical research on neural tube defects. Through 21 years together, they have raised Sophie to become a healthy adult, standing as proof that a couple's love can overcome any barrier of illness. 7. Rodney, Peete, and Holly Robinson. Peete, despair and the journey of rebirth from autism. Rodney Peete was an outstanding quarterback who played 16 seasons in the NFL, while Holly Robinson Peete is a famous actress known for the series 21 Jump Street and Hangin' with Mr. Cooper. They married in 1995. With 31 years of marriage as of 2026, they are one of the ultimate power couples at the intersection of sports and entertainment. However, their journey bears the strong mark of medical advocacy and community activism. The crisis that completely changed their family occurred in 2000, when their 3-year-old son RJ was diagnosed with autism. While Holly quickly dove into researching early intervention methods, Rodney initially fell into a state of denial and struggled to accept the truth, an extremely common psychological hurdle that causes many marriages to break down. However, through Holly's patience, Rodney overcame that barrier, joining his wife to establish the nonprofit Holly Rod Foundation. The foundation doesn't just support families with children on the autism spectrum, but also aids patients with Parkinson's, a disease Holly's father suffered from. Along with this, Holly stood by Rodney during his retirement years as he faced the aftermath of traumatic brain injuries from his time in the NFL. Their 31-year marriage is an epic tale of grace and the effort to protect their family's health. 6. Courtney B. Vance and Angela Bassett. Exhausting days for the desire to become parents. Courtney B. Vance and Angela Bassett are one of the most elite and highly respected acting couples in Hollywood. They first met in the early 80s when they were both acting majors at the prestigious Yale University. However, it wasn't until 1997 that they officially married. To date, they have been together for 29 years under the title of husband and wife. While Angela achieved roaring success with Oscar-nominated roles in films like What's Love Got to Do with It and Black Panther, Courtney also bagged multiple prestigious Emmy Awards. Despite their soaring careers, the biggest dark corner in their marriage was their struggle with infertility. When they decided to build a home, they faced tremendous biological hurdles. Angela and Courtney spent 7 grueling years enduring a series of failed IVF cycles. The constant cycle of hope and disappointment, along with the side effects of hormone medications, placed a massive psychological and physical pressure on both spouses. Instead of giving up or letting frustration break their marriage, they decided to pivot to surrogacy. In 2006, the couple welcomed twins Bronwyn and Slater. Over 29 years together, they co-authored the memoir, Friends, A Love Story, revealing the secret to keeping the marriage alive through their most hope-depleted phases. 5. Denzel Washington and Pauletta Washington. Nerves of steel against the ghost of Hollywood infidelity. Denzel Washington is a contemporary cinematic titan, winner of 2 Oscars and countless prestigious academic awards. He met Pauletta Pearson, an an actress and musician, on the set of the TV movie Wilma in 1977. After being rejected by Pauletta for his marriage proposals twice, Denzel finally got her to say yes, and they officially married in 1983. As of 2026, this power couple has marked a record-long marriage journey, 43 years together. Their longevity is a rarity in a Hollywood landscape rife with breakups. To protect this 43-year marriage, Pauletta had to display an immense level of mental endurance. As the wife of one of the most attractive and famous actors on the planet, she continuously had to face the glaring scrutiny of the media and countless baseless cheating rumors surrounding Denzel throughout the 90s and 2000s. Despite the chaos of the entertainment industry, Pauletta chose to remain composed, never bringing her private life to the tabloids to justify anything. In 1995, to shut down the noise and reaffirm their eternal love, they hosted a vow renewal ceremony in South Africa, officiated by the illustrious Archbishop Desmond Tutu. Nearly half a century later, they still walk side by side on the biggest red carpets, proving that composure is the key to protecting a home. 4. Billy Ocean and Judy Bain, disappearing from the peak of fame to trade for family. Billy Ocean is the most successful Black British recording artist in the history of 1980s R&B pop. He dominated global charts and won a Grammy with a slew of classic hits like Caribbean Queen and Get Out of My Dreams, Get Into My Car. Billy married Judy Bain in 1978, long before he became an international superstar. As of 2026, they have set an astonishing record with 48 years of a solid marriage, making them the couple with the longest time together on this list. Their biggest challenge didn't come from illness or the law, but from the very peak of fame. In the late 80s, Billy Ocean's exploding popularity brought endless world tours, exhausting promotional schedules, and the temptations surrounding the music industry. Realizing that the money and platinum plaques were slowly pulling him away from his home and stripping away his chance to watch his 3 children grow up, Billy made a shocking decision. In the early 90s, right at the peak of his career, he voluntarily stepped away from the spotlight. He suspended releasing new music for over 15 years to return to his hometown, giving absolute priority to raising his children with Judy. The decision to let go of fame to protect his family helped their marriage stand strong for 48 years, an almost unthinkable achievement for musical icons of that era. 3. Ice Cube and Kimberly Woodruff, the unbelievable loyalty of the gangsta rap boss. Ice Cube, real name O'Shea Jackson, is one of the greatest legends of the music industry, a core member of the group NWA, and a pioneer who shaped West Coast gangsta rap in America. He met Kimberly Woodruff in 1988 while both were in college and officially married in 1992. As of 2026, they have known each other for 38 years and maintained their married life for 34 years. Their marriage is particularly iconic because it goes completely against the usual stereotypes of hip-hop culture. Throughout the 90s, gangsta rap was often associated with a violent, reckless lifestyle, gang rivalries, and misogynistic ideologies. On stage, Ice Cube was a gritty rapper, constantly entangled in lyrical controversies with the FBI and authorities. Yet, behind that rebellious image, he is a model family man. In 34 years together, Ice Cube has never been caught up in any cheating scandals or personal legal drama. Kimberly Woodruff chose a lifestyle away from the red carpet flashes, stepping back to be his solid foundation, raising 4 grown children, including actor O'Shea Jackson Jr. The stability from his family created the groundwork for Ice Cube to expand his business empire, successfully pivoting to film with the Friday and Barbershop franchises and founding the Big 3 basketball league. They are living proof that a hip-hop star can absolutely maintain an intact and enduring home amidst an environment full of temptations. 2. Oprah Winfrey and Stedman Graham, billionaire power and a romance that rejects the marriage certificate. Oprah Winfrey is North America's first Black female self-made billionaire, a global media icon, and the host of the historic The Oprah Winfrey Show. Stedman Graham is an educator, author, and successful businessman. The two began dating in 1986. As of 2026, they have reached the milestone of 40 years together. The most unique aspect of this relationship is that they break all traditional standards. Throughout 4 decades together, they have never legally registered a marriage. In 1992, Stedman proposed to Oprah, and she said yes, but later they both decided to call off the wedding. Enduring decades under the media's magnifying glass, the couple faced countless pressures from public opinion. Tabloids constantly churned out malicious rumors about both of their sexualities, skepticism about why they refused to marry, and judgments about Stedman having to live under the massive shadow of a billionaire woman. However, Oprah has publicly explained multiple times with an incredibly modern mindset. She realized that if they got married, the marriage would not survive, because taking on this title of wife comes with society's traditional expectations of sacrifice and tending to the family, which completely conflicted with her immense workload and media mission. Instead of signing a piece of paper of confession, they chose to be soul partners. Their 40-year peaceful journey together is the most definitive answer that a relationship not based on legal molds can still be stronger than most marriages in Hollywood. 1. Morris Chestnut and Pam Bice, the Hollywood sex symbol and the absolute rule of keeping his wife hidden. Morris Chestnut is one of the most famous actors in African American entertainment, skyrocketing to fame from the classic film Boys in the Hood and maintaining his charm through works like The Best Man or the medical series Rosewood. Thanks to his handsome looks and ideal physique, the press has favorably dubbed him Hollywood's sex symbol for decades. Yet, contrary to the Playboy label on screen, in real life, he married Pam Bice in 1995 and has maintained an incredibly rock-solid home. As of 2026, they have hit the 31-year marriage milestone. The biggest challenge for leading men dubbed beauty icons is the constant temptation from the entertainment industry, where loyalty is always a huge question mark. However, Morris Chestnut and Pam Bice found a perfect survival strategy: absolute privacy. Pam Bice is not in the entertainment industry. She rarely appears before the media and has no desire to polish her name. Morris also proactively draws a clear line between work and family. He never brings bedroom stories to talk shows and doesn't use his family as a PR stunt on social media. Mutual respect and keeping Hollywood away from their front door have helped them become completely immune to the quickie divorce culture of superstars. 31 years later, their marriage remains a rare oasis of peace, perfectly closing out the list of the most enduring romances of the century among black artists. As you can see, Hollywood isn't always just about glamorous marriages, but there are also marriages that demand extraordinary sacrifice and endurance. If you feel surprised by the brutal storms they have weathered, or if you particularly admire the resilience of a certain couple on this list, please leave a comment sharing your thoughts. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss our next stories, where we will continue to look deep into the hidden corners in the world of celebrities.